Pop out of there. Back into there. Open up the chat. Pop out the chat. There we go. Now I'll be able to see what everybody's saying. Testing everybody's notifications. AJ pops back into live streams after months and months of... Oh, well. Has it been... Yeah, it's been months, I think. Kairos! Oh, I can always rely on you. You are the notification king. How's it going, man? It's been a while. Hey, Sean. It is 8 a.m. in the morning here, so yeah, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Toronto or other places. So afternoon, everybody. Hey, Moonthirst. Hey, Steve. Yeah, I've really been enjoying the feedback I've been getting about the story-based videos, particularly the last one, which was kind of crossing a important threshold. I wanted to talk about that. Hey, Logan. Yeah, an actual weekend live stream. It's been so long. I feel like I'm doing this for... Well, I don't feel like I'm doing this for the first time because I've got you guys. I feel like I'm talking to my friends. Guten Nacht in Germany. You're working on your tabletop RPG. I'd be interested to hear about it, Kairos. Oh, you're east of Toronto. Nice. Hope it's not too hot over there at the moment. Yep, it's me live, Richard. You can ask me anything, any questions that you have about any of my videos or anything like that. So in the last video, I traveled to the Anrock Desert into what is called the Tortured Lands, which is not often talked about or not often mapped, and because it's not often traveled. The reason why they call it the Tortured Lands. Yeah. And I'm traveling back across the Anrock Desert in this very next video I'm working on, and going to the Moonshay Isles and talking about a freakish encounter with two of the same but different creature, which is giant snakes. You watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Okay. Hot will be back next week. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it has been a while, James. Nice to see you. Yeah, there's different varieties of giant snakes. The 5th edition rules only cover a few of them, but there's some other rather famous varieties that you find in the Forgotten Realms. There's a 2-headed variety of snake, which you don't find on Earth, but is common in the... Well, giant snakes aren't common, but they're everywhere in the Forgotten Realms. You have giant constrictor snakes, giant spitting snakes, giant poisonous venomous snakes, and you've got giant sea snakes and coral snakes, and the double-headed variety as well. And they all come in different environments, and they've been with the game throughout. And I'm surprised I've never covered them because they are definitely a concern. Snap, yeah. Dragging me out? Yes, you caught me. Hey, Morg. Hey, John. Yeah, there's a lot of... Yeah. But it's interesting that you can categorize them that way. But, of course, each of those different varieties has got subspecies which are specific to different environments. Elminster's Ecologies, which is a 9-booklet box set written by the hand of Elminster, is one of the best resources for his discussion of all the different environments and in the Forgotten Realms, where he's and when he's talking about Anrock, he also mentions the giant spitting snakes that you find in Anrock. Yeah, I have been enjoying basic D&D lately. It's so funny that 50 years on, I finally get to actually DM D&D Basic for the first time on my Discord server. Angelus, who is one of our faithful admins, was lamenting that he wished that there was somebody who would run him through level 1 to 20 or beyond D&D Basic campaign, and I said, okay, because, I was in the mood. He was quite shocked. And then we got a little cadre of guys together, and now we're adventuring in the town of Baragost and beyond with a bunch of first level D&D Basic characters. And at the same time, I'm making my way through Castle Mistamere with trying to kill Bargle, and I've lost 2 characters so far. On to the third. Well, the first one kind of left because he ran out of spells and went away. The other one got killed. Sushi got killed, and now Fromage is the mage is with us. How often do you go beyond level 20? Very rarely. Like, it's more likely that the characters will retire from old age than ever reach level 20. And, of course, D&D Basic goes up into levels at 36 and on to immortality is an option as well. So it really depends on what happens. If they pack a lot of adventuring in and manage to actually survive, because in between each adventure, like a week passes. That's why you use up your rations and things like that, and your character actually ages every shield meet. They go up a year in age, and I'm going to be tracking things like that because it's a very legit Forgotten Realms adventure we're playing. Hey, frickin' Paco. Have some V8 and some padding. What? Well, you got here, Marcus. That's the important thing. You've only missed the first few minutes. Satyr Cleric of Protection, God of Song and Poetry, plus a Bard. My Satyr is going with a one-man band armor. Nice. Yeah, original D&D is brutal for player characters. I would, we were talking about this the other day, that Shadow Dark feels more like what old school people expect D&D Basic to feel like, but when they go back to play D&D Basic after playing other editions, D&D Basic is way more restrictive and convoluted, and the order of combat is stilted and different. And it's like we have very rosy shaded spectacles when we talk about D&D Basic, but when you actually play the game, it can be challenging. It can be a little bit rough sometimes. Some of the rules don't really make a lot of sense, like setting spears and fighting retreats and things like that. No attacks of opportunity. No like simultaneous actions. You resolve the order of combat differently. So it goes missile combat, then spells are resolved, and then melee combat. One person rolls a d6 to determine the initiative, unless you're using individual initiative, which we never do. So you don't use d20s for initiative. You don't add your dexterity bonus, something we had to get used to. The spell casting is very limited. Magic Missile is just 1d6, one magic missile until you reach 5 levels, in which case you get another magic missile. So it's like nowhere near as useful as the other one. It never misses, but you can roll a 1, and that's it. And your mage has got like 1 or 2 spells in an adventure, and that's it. Hey, Gaga. Which D&D enemy would you consider the final boss for me? The Mind Flayers, due to their time-traveling technology and their goal of ruling the multiverse. Well, you've kind of answered the question there. Depends, really. I would say there's more important things like the travel of Yall through time, for instance, or Pale Knight, swallows the universe, or something. One of the big elder evils, probably. But I would say never use a published big boss monster. Always make one of your own. Base it on something else. Big, borrow, and steal from the rules. Yeah, homebrew everything. My videos are just a guide, really. By the time you've finished watching 700 of my videos, you should be making your own monsters, for sure. Hell, I'll show you. I'll, come over to my Discord channel and I'll show you how. No speed factor in Basic either. No, that came along in 2nd edition D&D. Later 2nd edition D&D. Yeah, 50 years of game development. Yeah, for sure. No, I haven't tried DC20 yet. I'm looking forward to it though. Yeah, that's definitely good news. So Alan's Kickstarter, he's triggered what I call the Matt Colville effect, and this is not something we've seen since the outrageous success of Shadow Dark. So basically, what it means is you have a YouTube audience and you coordinate with other YouTubers to plug the Kickstarter at a certain point, which he did with all of us. And I was only so happy to, because I had a look at the alpha tests rules of DC20, and of course I've talked with Alan. We email every now and then, and then when his Kickstarter hit, it funded within 1 minute, and now he's approaching 2 million. So the Matt Colville effect, which is the YOLO, what is it? FOMO, fear of missing out effect. So once it reaches a certain point of funding, Kickstarter itself will see it as a big draw card ticket, and it will pull in extra. It will basically advertise it for you because it's in the interest of Kickstarter to promote successful Kickstarters. So every metric has been ticked by the input of the existing audience of the YouTuber. That's the Matt Colville effect, right? Bam, you get this big thing. That's why, like, all the Logan Paul and guys like that who transferred over from Vine took their existing audience to YouTube and just bootstrapped to instantaneously have an audience. Much like if I took my live stream to Twitch, for instance, and you guys all followed me, all of a sudden I would have this big following by Twitch standards. By YouTube standards, it's reasonable. By Twitch standards, I would be right up there. But of course, I don't do Twitch. But yeah, that's the same sort of thing. And the Matt Colville effect essentially bootstraps your promotion to reach deep into the zeitgeist of the hobby. And so everybody heard about the DC20 Kickstarter, and it just became this big rolling phenomenon. And of course, there's poor Alan cowering under his desk in a fetal position, laughing and crying at the same time as the sheer magnitude of his success piles upon him. Because don't forget, success is also the measure of a man. And it's a daunting thing to have all of your opportunities handed to you all of a sudden. And yeah, now he's left with a lot to do, and he needs a team around him to make that happen. So I would imagine, much like Matt Colville, he will gather a writing team of some kind. I would hope to see some sort of a DC20 magazine come out of this, much like MCDM came up with the Arcadia magazine, which I wish they would continue. Hey, thanks, Moonthirst. What are your thoughts on free Mordheim-like turn-based video game where player yets could choose between war band or buy war and extensions? That's hang on. Mordheim, turn-based game. I'm in favor of any kind of D&D-esque video game. I hate it when they call them role-playing games and they're a video game and there's no actual role-playing involved. They should say role-play style or something like that instead of RPG. I have positive thoughts after the Baldur's Gate 3 thing, and I think some sort of a I'm still waiting for third-party developers to sort of start modifying that and using it, and waiting with bated breath to see whatever Wizard of the Coast comes up with, and as far as a tabletop system, if any. I've recently started playing Magic the Gathering Arena again, simply just because I want to kick Admin Dawes' ass repeatedly, but he's beating me very badly. Yeah, that autocorrected a lot. Oh, Game Workshop. I'm all in favor of video games by Game Workshop. Yeah, they do a really good job with their Dawn of War series and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, if they've got fantasy stuff. About the only thing I didn't really like was Vermintide. I did not like the gameplay of Vermintide. I don't like first-person perspective in melee games and stuff. Yeah. What was that Viking? Was that the Viking one? No, I haven't won a single Magic match versus Dorse yet. Thanks for reminding me. But I've just gotten back into it, and I've only built a few decks. He does like the big 100-card brawl decks, and I'm not used to that format at all. I'm very much used to a very tight 60-card deck, usually monocolored, that hits hard and fast with minions and stuff. That's my usual gameplay. I'm very aggressive. And he has a brawl deck, which is quite nasty. Hey, Nick. Oh, Sarazdun's going to be your final boss, Robert. Nice. Oh, thanks, friggin' Paco. I appreciate that you appreciate my videos. I'm glad they're useful for people. Thank you, Rev, Dr. Abu Haram. AJ, you're one of the only people who put anything about Lachey on your channel. I have one big bad in my campaign looking for more lore on the moon. They're so old that each of the Lachey is like a major NPC demigod almost, and they can be very different. They can be polymorphed, transformed, have gone through magical transformations, have crossed over into other dimensions. They could have feuds and wars with other Lachey that have toppled empires. They've been around, so they're immortals, right? They're like low-grade immortals. They're like working man's immortals. Yeah. Oh, EA games. Yeah, EA games can be problematic. And of course, I guess now that I'm playing Magic the Gathering Arena, I'm not going to spend any money on it. So basically, you have to put in a few games every day to get your daily quests and stuff. And you don't have to buy gems. You can just accrue those coin points and buy packs of cards that way. So you can basically play Magic the Gathering Arena for free and still be competitive. You're not going to win any tournament leagues or anything like that, but you're going to have fun. Power scaling, yeah. I'm reading through Candlekeep Mysteries at the moment because it's a good format for writing adventures. Basically, if you stick to the sort of standard format here, you're going to write a fairly cohesive adventure. And I am writing an adventure at the moment, Echoes of the Ninth Harmonic, for remember the Feywild series, Through the Veil, that I was involved in, the trilogy of books? Well, we're making another trilogy of books. This time, we're not using 5th edition as the base mechanics. We're using Pathfinder Infinite, which I have to contend with because I'm not a Pathfinder fan, as you all know, even though I own the books and I talk about Galarian and stuff. And I've played a couple of games of Pathfinder at conventions. I don't run Pathfinder, and I generally don't talk about Pathfinder lore because it's the Uncanny Valley. It's too similar to D&D, but different. So it's almost like I don't do homebrew lore from the D&D wiki, for instance, because it's just confusing, and people like official content from me. They want to know that it's D&D. They can go back to a book and reference sort of thing. That being said, the Kobold Press books and the monsters there that I'm integrating into the D&D lore of Forgotten Realms, for instance, I'm definitely crossing a boundary there. And so the Elemental Loci video that I just put out, that's new lore that I've attached to the ancient lore of Netheril, for instance. That's not existing lore, that's new lore. And so people who ask me, where did you find that information about the Elemental Loci being a result of Proctiv's Move Mountain spell? It doesn't exist. But to be fair, I also, invented some information about, the Ten Towns region and the far north that ended up in a video game and stuff like that. So I'm now at the point where I feel fairly confident expanding the lore of the Forgotten Realms, because are you going to get any expansions of lore from Wizards of the Coast at this point? Or are they just going to basically change things to make it dumber for a broader audience? Or do you want lore that actually is integrated into the deep, rich lore of the Forgotten Realms? I mean, I was telling you about the origin of spells from 3,600 years ago. So, that's well researched, I think. How are my health? Good at the moment. As you can see, I'm thin, but my teeth are pretty messed up, which you can probably hear lisping and stuff. I have to, at the moment, produce a lot of videos because I'm going to fairly soon get all my teeth ripped out and get some false teeth finally. And of course, that's going to put me out of action making videos for a little bit. So I have to make videos in preparations for time off, and hopefully you guys can bear with me. Yeah, I really enjoyed making that elemental Lyco vid because I got to talk about the ecology of elementals for one. Yeah. Why do my teeth have to be removed? Because I'm 50 plus years old and they're munted. My dad had all of his teeth out when he was 18. And my mum's teeth are kind of a war zone, and I've had to contend with just having bad, weak teeth, basically, my whole life. They've lasted long enough, but they've got to go. Because I also have had an ancestor in the past, about, 3 generations ago. His name was Feather, and he died from having an infected tooth. So he lived in Devonport in Auckland. He was a saddle maker. I have a rich history of my family and also know all their health problems. Yeah. Oh, it's just one of those things you contend with. It is, tooth pain is a nightmarish pain. So yeah, anybody who's had tooth pain understands that you just got to deal with it. It's a dire halfling issue. Yeah. Yes, it's dangerous if left unchecked. And I want to be around for a very long time making videos for you, so I'm going to go and get my teeth sorted out. Plus, it's a confidence issue. They don't look great, so I want to get my smile back. I was famous for my smile when I was working as a cook for 14 years. People used to enjoy me smiling and saying good morning when they came in and ordered their deep-fried mussels. Yeah. Hey, Dawes. Yeah, you were telling me about that guy who went on a hunting trip by himself and he smashed his tooth on the first day, and he actually he took himself out rather than having to deal with the pain before they found him. That's terrifying, but I can understand it. Yeah, you need some pretty top shelf painkillers. Ibuprofen is a good one for tooth pain. Get all gold teeth? No, I can't afford that, unfortunately. I have managed to put aside enough money to afford it, which is good. And that's thanks to you, because as you know, I'm completely supported by my YouTube channel and Patreon. So you have afforded me the ability to save my own life by getting my teeth fixed. So thank you very much. Who in the realms call humans dire halflings? No. So dire halflings are not humans in the realms. They are, if you look at D&D Basic, right, there's a level cap that halflings and other demi-humans can reach. Dire halflings and certain other dwarves and certain elves don't have that level cap. They're the ones that can actually reach immortal levels. And so the sage character that I write about in the Forgotten Realms, he's my alter ego in the realms, much like Elminster or Mert the Moneylender or various wizards from AD&D. He's my alter ego, and he's got some stats in Esper's Emporium of Everything, and he also named him, which was kind of freaky. Genetics, yeah. A gold grill that says glue sticks and diamonds. Good grief. I would like slightly pointy teeth, like slightly more, shall we say, aggressive teeth. Hey, KMG. I love that. Hey, you sexy potatoes. Yeah, well, the good thing about getting your teeth all ripped out at the same time is you only have to do it once. Whereas, yeah, I've had to have I've only got like 8 teeth in my lower jaw. It's just that they're all in front, so you can see them. But yeah, chewing is like there. Yeah. If you ever see me eating on stream, you'll see some mental some oral gymnastics. Yeah, shark bite. It'd be fun. Get different dentures. The funny thing is you get your dentures sort of made before you get your teeth out. Then they get the teeth out and they put the dentures in straight away. And then you get another set of dentures that are smaller, but once your gums have sort of gone down and not all swollen and sore. Yeah. Well, what I need is a CRISPR injection that just grows in a third set of teeth. That would be great. But unfortunately, we can't do that yet. Power word fillings, no. That's one of the things I've never really wanted to do is go down the route that my mum has, which is constantly trying to repair teeth, which are just weak and break apart. So it's like every Christmas dinner, she'll lose a bit of filling or something. I'm like, no, I don't want that. But I will have to get used to talking with the false teeth, which is going to be interesting because, of course, you guys will hear it in my videos. So it's going to be an experience for everybody on my channel as well. But hopefully it would be okay. Originally, I wanted like implants where they drill big plugs and stuff and fix the dentures to you, but I can't afford that. It's like $50,000 to get that done in New Zealand. It's ridiculous. Yeah, because we're so far away from everywhere. I could travel to the States to get it done, or I could travel to India, but I just don't want to. That would be even more time off. Yeah, it will be nice to have my smile back. That's all I can say. And my dad's never complained about it. Every person I've talked to who's had false teeth, including my old flatmate, they've never complained about it. They've said, "Oh, it's fine." Yeah, it is a crazy amount. It's absolutely bonkers. Hey, Karosh, not much. Other things that are going on, apart from the writing of the adventure, is I've got some illustration work to do for another project, and I've got adventures to run. And, of course, I've got Superatomic, which is still in development. And playtesting, and each game that we've had so far has been really good. We've got to get some more of those done. Superatomic is a super rules light supers game where essentially it starts high octane and just gets to the point where at some point some super weapon goes off and blows up half a city. Asked to keep the teeth for craft. Well, I do actually have some teeth. But yeah. Also, I've noticed something unusual about my tooth when I got it out. It weighs as much as a gold, the equivalent in gold. It's really, really, really dense. It's unusually dense. Like it's weighty in your hand. It's weird. Yeah. And also the root, because of my Scottish ancestry, the root is about that long on the tooth. It's crazy. And this incisor here, the root goes right up here. Hey, thanks, Steve. You need a new Super RPGs. I have a tale to tell. Well, it's freely available. All of the rules and stuff that we're playtesting are available on my my Discord server. All you need to do is go and the link to the Discord server is down below. Go and join up the Discord server. Come say hi. And all of the files for all the random roll tables for Superatomic are right there, so you can start playing straight away. It is for people who like improv style play, who like very rules light and very quick play. So because it's a supers game, there's no sort of combat mechanics. There's no hit points or levels or anything like that. It's really just a character creation and then problem solving game and story game, a narrative game. Because supers games don't really need hit points and stuff like that. They've got like a reasonable expectation of knockouts and using your super abilities to outsmart your opponent, really. But because of the just sheer massive variety of stuff that you can throw into a supers game, they really are kitchen sink type games where you need a universal rule system that covers every genre, because you've got time travel, dimensional shifts, you've got magic, you've got psionics, you've got aliens, you've got mutation, you've got ordinary people with super skills, you've got high tech gadgets, and all that sort of stuff, all thrown into that. And it's, how do you make a rule system for that? That's the thing. The one that's closest to playing like D&D-esque style, they often have there's a 5th edition version of a supers game, but it has the same sort of problems that 5th edition has, where like saving throws are tied to challenge ratings and things like that. And challenge ratings make no sense whatsoever in a there's no balance in a Supers game at all. Like thinking that you should have balance in a Supers game is wrong think from the very beginning, because it's not reflective of the material that you're emulating, basically. Yeah. GURPS, yeah, it's king if you love thousands of D6s. Let's face it. I played GURPS. Don't tell me it's a flawless system. It's the oldest universal system, sure, but it's got its problems. And you are very rosy glasses if you think it's better than like any of the others. Yeah. But, you know, hey, Sir William. So Superatomic, yeah. I looked at all the different mechanics. I went through D10s and stat-based stuff, and I looked at hit points. I looked at the D6 systems from West End games. I looked at like Marvel games and just Mutants and Masterminds and what's the other one? Challenges and yeah, tons of different Supers games. I looked at all of them, and I just came to the conclusion less is more. Like, I want the freedom to play this game without having to check rules and stuff like that. I want the players to just experience a really fast and innovative game where anything goes. So that was my motivation. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and superheroes from Heroes Unlimited, of course, that system will always be close to my heart, and I'm always ready to play that game at any time. I know it like the back of my hand because I've played it for years and years and years, and it's got a sweet spot in my heart. And I have no problems with the rule system. I'm sick and tired of everybody saying, oh, you know, Palladium games and the Mega system is like terrible. It's like, no, it's not. You're talking about like optional rules and stuff like that, and you're trying to make you take the Rifts rules, for instance, and say that that's the only example of it. No, Heroes Unlimited is a perfectly concise and compact game that works really well, and it's only things like very nuanced, specific stuff like called shots and simultaneous dodging and you know, really nuanced stuff in combat where you run into some problems where there's conflicting rules from different editions or different source books. But that's like, there's thousands of optional rules in 5th edition that people would like have conniptions over, like the mob combat rules and stuff like that, if they've never experienced them before. Yeah. So we'll everybody complains about stuff. It really depends on what your preference is. I can run a game of Heroes Unlimited where you wouldn't even experience the rule system. It's mostly narrative. You don't even have to roll dice on many occasions. And I can make the characters for you. You just tell me what you want. And it's mostly random rolls with the Heroes Unlimited system anyway. Hey AJ, do I have any idea when I'm going to get Zaz, aka Deep Voice Dragon Man, do a bit in your videos? No, not at the moment. Mainly for like, the reason why I don't invite a lot of collaboration from people who aren't YouTubers already is because of the possibility of exploitation, and they may feel like that I'm taking advantage of them and not paying them money and stuff like that. I don't like taking advantage of like fans donating things or anything like that, even artwork and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's generally why I don't. And also because my production times is so rapid compared to organizing stuff with other people. Like a collab for me is something that happens in like 2 or 3 weeks, whereas a video is something that I can do in a day or 2 or 3 days. Yeah. You either like Palladium or not, really. And Palladium fans are hardcore fans. We really like it. There's nothing quite like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ninja Super Spies, Beyond the Supernatural, yeah, the old SDC titles, and of course Rifts is a thing of wonder. There's nothing quite like Rifts. Morning, Nacho Nacho. R.I.P. Sushi, yeah. Sushi died like she lived, violently. Robotech, yes. Yeah. Oh, the wonder and the horror of Robotech. Of course, the infamous Kickstarter that Kevin Simbeta ran for Robotech, where he didn't fulfill a lot of the orders and stuff. That's yeah, worthy of condemnation for sure. Yeah, I love the skill system. I love the percentile skill system of Palladium. And remember, the thing to remember is don't judge Palladium by today's standards. If you want to judge it by today's standards, look at Savage Worlds' version of Rifts. There you go. Right? It's updated. It's adapted. It's a playable system. I don't play the Savage Worlds version of Rifts because I don't need to. I just play the original one. But remember that Palladium came up with its Megaversal system very early on. So D&D Advanced had only been around for a while, you know. So they were playing. That was quite early on, and it was one of the first universal rule systems, generic rule systems. So is it clunky? Yeah, because D&D was clunky, and role-playing was a bit clunky back then. You know, could have it had been streamlined? No, because they would have had to have rewritten all of the source material that they had done previously and adapted it to a new edition, and they just couldn't afford to do that. You know, the number of different settings and stuff involved means that you would have to change all of them. You'd have to reprint and convert all of them. They even have to print conversion books and like the GM's help folder just to match up like the difference between fantasy and high tech stuff and things like that, you know. But the spells have to be a universal spell. It has to be fantasy, you know, contemporary, like beyond the supernatural. Has to be advanced for like Robotech and Rifts. Yeah, and they've got the mega damage system and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, adapting a big, massive universal system like that to all the different settings that it covers would be tremendously difficult. It faces far more difficulties than D&D does. So there you go. They just sort of they're trapped within their own world. Respect the stash. Thanks. Oh, Mech Warrior. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Battletech and like Mech Warrior and stuff where you have to count all the heat sinks and your like, oh, no thank you. Or that game where you play like a battle tank or something or other. Yeah. And some of the historical reenactment games are just crazy. And of course, don't forget all of their role-playing games were based on military exercises. You know, the military invented role-playing games, really, kind of. War games, you could say. The one thing that truly made GURPS superior, however, is that it had the skill Bun Fu, an only game system with a specific skill for bunnies to learn Kung Fu. True. I think Palladium also included RPG Designer as a skill. Ogre is very good. That's the one I was thinking of. That's like, yeah. You have a manual this big. Oh, Paranoia. Yeah, Nacho and I are going to be playing some Paranoia at some point. Are we going to stream that, or we're just going to play it privately? We should stream it. You did some design work for Battlefront back in the day. Oh, nice. Were there any Palladium novels? Yeah, there are. There's a really good comic book for Rifts, I think. There's all sorts of stuff. I don't generally read a lot of... I've read the Forgotten Realms novels, the Companions of the Hall. Stream the thing with Nacho, yeah. For experienced DMs, it's not hard to convert magic into modern physics. It's all manipulation of energy. Yeah. You can get really into the weeds of magic, you know. If you like to be like a person who explains the science of things. One of the things that I'm aiming for when I write the Godforge RPG is there are actual physical explanations behind all the mystical stuff that happens. The only real thing that is still hoogie-woogie is divine stuff. But there's a very specific flavor for the divine stuff in Godforge. Like it's a gonzo setting that seems more traditional D&D, but when you get to the background of what it actually is, it's actually a hardcore sci-fi game. Like really high concept stuff. because it's designed to. It's set at the end of time, at the end of the universe, the end of the D&D universe. That's where Godforge lives. Of course, it's not a D&D setting. It's for Monsters, which is a Tunnels and Trolls setting or rule system. So very, very simple rule base, but very high concept of what Godforge actually is. So it'll be fast and exciting play in a realm where you've got all sorts of different random options available to you. But also, I give the answers to the dungeon master. I don't sweep things under the carpet if it's magic or it's high tech or whatever. I explain exactly what's going on. So when an arcanist is manipulating the environment, he's actually using nanomachines that are tied into his nervous system because there's malfunctions due to replications of the nanomachines over time, allowing connections that were never intended. So he's actually manipulating nanomachines in the environment and calling it magic because sufficiently advanced technology that you do not understand. From his perspective, it is magic. From your perspective, it's physics. So it makes perfect sense. So the limitations are all understandable. Oh, the Gamma World box back in the 1980s. Yeah. Metamorphosis Alpha. I only saw the Dragon Magazine article on Metamorphosis Alpha. I never had the actual game itself. But that was like the random roll tables for mutations. That's what I think attracted me to Heroes Unlimited in the first place. And once I bought Heroes Unlimited, that was it. That was my game that I ran for our group. I never ran D&D until much later on. So that and Traveller were my wheelhouse. Yeah, well, you'll be probably fine with that, Richard. Stick with first edition Gamma World. The latest stuff is quite different. Star Frontiers, yeah. Star Frontiers is basically Gamma World advanced. Kinda. Ish. Maybe. Yeah, you can play Star Frontiers, but if you play Traveller is fantastic. And the resources available for Traveller is just mind-boggling. Stormbreaker was your first RPG? Whereabouts are you from, Lady Mecca? Wow, that's very specific. Yeah, Steve. So yeah, Godforge, of course, is about generating and using gods as a technology in the far, far future, basically fighting against the return of the great old ones. But your players don't really get involved in that at all. It's just the background, like, why does this place exist? Like, what's going on in the rest of the universe? Outside of Godforged? Nightmare. Horrible. Like, yeah, the universe is terrible. It's a void. It almost feels like the negative energy plane, you know. Traveller's Mongoose game, yes. Yep. Mongoose is an interesting company. I approached them about getting some promotional material, and they sent me like a source book and something. I was like, send me the core rules for the game. Like, what do you expect me to do with this? But I mean, you know, they did send me a book, but yeah, I was like, dude, you should have some sort of like a package, like a promotional package involved for like social media people. But yeah, it just seemed like they just grabbed something off a shelf. As opposed to like Free League. Free League is just a fantastic company to deal with. And I love their games. Yeah. Traveller, of course, gets the rep of your character can die in character creation, but what they don't often talk about is the character creation is integrated from the very beginning. So Traveller has always been session 0 extremely heavy. You can't make your characters outside of the group because the characters are designed to all be created and have connections right from the beginning of the game. You basically design a crew, and they have an entire career. So quite often your adventurers are retired from whatever career they had, which in case they can get injuries. Like if you want your character to have a cybernetic arm, there's a chance that the incidents that caused their arm to get blown off may have killed them. So a military career is risky, and your character may die. You may have like your character creation in Traveller is a game in and of itself. It's part of the game. So you roll the dice, and you're like seeing what happens. Like you could go, oh, I'm going to retire from the military and do a merchant career. It's a bit safer. Or I'm going to go into business or something like that. So you're charting the backstory. You're building the backstory of your character. That's very rich and detailed because it's their entire career, and each roll of the dice is decades of their life. And each one of them has the opportunity to give you a deep connection with another character. Like we served in the Soleimani Empire war on this particular frontier. We were in the Spinwood Marches on a merchant ship together 15 years ago, and now I've acquired a ship from my uncle's company, and we're going on an adventure. And you get shot to pieces with shotguns by a Vaga in a spaceport in your first episode. But you can, but the point is that Traveller has always integrated character build as an integral part of playing the game. You can't make the characters independently; they just don't work really that way. And if you don't understand that, you don't get the concept of what Traveller is all about. Yeah, it's a fantastic background roller, and also reinforces my love of random roll tables. Just not for random monster encounters. Well, Traveller is not a beast of a system. It's very basic. Your stats for your character are also your hit points. And as your character gets beaten up in combat, they get less able to do things because their stats are going down. That's a very easy concept to get, and it makes a lot of sense. It's a cool concept. But, when it comes to like jump drives and that sort of stuff, you can do a lot of nitty-gritty and counting, but you can skip over it too. I mean, look at Spelljammer. Nobody really plays a lot of like asphyxiation. How much air have you got on your Spelljammer? Sort of, we're just going to shove that to the side. Now we're in the astral plane. Yeah, great. So you got a lot of physical beings traveling through the astral plane. Great. Now you get eaten by dreadnoughts. Yeah. And also the alien races in Traveller are great. You've got the Vagra, which are the canine people, Aslan. You've got the Droin, which are a cool sort of dinosaur bird-like species of humanoids that have a rigid caste system where they are physically adapted to whatever role they are. So you always play a sport, for instance. And really cool technology, like their tech levels are innovative and have been widely copied by many other games. So you say, what's your civilization's tech level? And at each tech level, they give you an example of the things that you'll find, like calculators, Valve computers, and things like that. You never encountered aliens in your Traveller game. Great. Yeah. Well, Spelljammer, as I've said before, is extremely derivative of Space 1889 and the love of at the time when it came out, it was like the 80s. CB radio jargon was really popular, like the movie Convoy and stuff like that. Breaker 19, I got a bear in the air. So the jargon that you get from both Spelljammer and Planescape is directly related to that popularity at the time that they integrated into Dungeons and Dragons to make it more popular for more contemporary. And Spelljammer, if you look at any of the covers of Space 1889, you'll think you're looking at a Spelljammer cover. It's that derivative. But of course, it was a different company. Let's team up for doing some 3D STL models for Superatomic. No, we don't need... No. Superatomic does not need tabletop equipment. It's very much a theater of the mind game, which you will immediately realize. There's no tactical need for miniatures, really. You can do everything on like just like a simple like dungeon scroll or one of those programs. I like the idea of making miniatures and STL files and stuff for people, but I also have some problem with like the liquid 3D printers produce a lot of toxins in the environment, and those things are really dangerous, like inhaling the fumes of 3D printers using liquid. You got to be careful. Even in 5e, you can have a dead on arrival character. I never liked phlogiston. I always thought it was stupid. I always thought the crystal spheres idea was stupid. Just stupid. Yeah, I never liked it. And I was glad when 5th edition got rid of it. Gotta say. I thought it was a great innovation. I didn't think it lost anything. Hey, thanks, Mendes. If you had the opportunity to take an RPG book into a TV series, what would be your choice? Me, Deadlands, The Weird West, and maybe why? Probably the Cleric Quintet series. I would turn that into a mini series on Netflix for sure. Yeah, because it's D&D enough. It's concise enough. It's contained enough. It's obscure enough that people aren't going to be like too upset if they don't do it justice. But it's a really good story. It's got enough to make the relation between the characters, the love of Danica, the fact that he has a family, his self-sacrifice, the way that it builds slowly in tension, and his innovation, like his explosive bolt crossbow will be like a hit with audiences. I think that would be a perfect vehicle for a series. The Cleric Quintet, Cadalie Bonaduce, and the Spirit Soaring Temple. For sure. That's my choice. Shout out to the narcotics episode. Yeah, I can't believe I got away with that. But then again, I've seen some of the other stuff which is on YouTube at the moment. Boy, there's some crazy shit that they're allowing on YouTube at the moment. Where, yeah. I won't talk about it because I don't want to give it credit, but sheesh. Hey, thanks, Lady Mecca. Congratulations on your 20th super on the live stream. Thank God for PDFs. I used to carry 10 to 15 books. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've still got a backpack of holding on the way from a Kickstarter. I use my backpack of holding as my main, like, it's fantastic for carrying groceries. It always manages to fit all of my groceries in there. Strange that. Not D&D, but Bulgarian would make an awesome TV series. Yes, it's quite slow burn, and some of the characters are a bit irascible. But yeah, I would agree. Or Sparhawk. In fact, I think the work of David Eddings, maybe the Magician series, that'd be pretty good. Interdimensional crossover invasion. That'd be an interesting series. It'd be a long, slow burn sort of series as well. But I don't know. Bulgarian is too close to a lot of people's hearts, and much like the Wheel of Time or Willow, if you get that wrong, people are going to hate it. Chronicles of Amber, yeah. Yeah, exactly. You'll see it at the table. That's exactly how I feel about Pathfinder. It's just too close assimilation of D&D. It's uncanny valley. It's like having to having to learn two versions of the same lore and keep them separate in your head is the reason why I don't cover Pathfinder. It's just too confusing for audiences to have there's angels in D&D and then there's angels in Pathfinder, but the angels in Pathfinder do this and the angels in D&D do that. It's like, no, I don't want to do that. It's just unnecessary for me. Psycho pomps and all that. There's enough in D&D for me to cover for the rest of time. And I don't care what edition you're playing. The lore is the lore. That's the cool thing about it. And also, if I'm not covering it, who is? Dungeon Dad is doing a great job. He's going more, yeah. His videos have changed a bit from mine, definitely over time. Like I don't talk on camera very often when I just do the live streams and stuff. I don't talk on camera. You don't see my face when I'm doing my videos. D&D fills several shelves. Yeah, I do actually have a lot of this is mostly third-party stuff up here. As you can see, I've got Forbidden Lands and Alien and Blade Runner from Free League, the box sets that they sent me, and I would happily pay for. They are lovely. We've got Star Hero, we've got Midgard stuff, a bunch of Midgard setting stuff, which I'm slowly learning and getting into. Got Pathfinder 2nd edition up there. Treacherous Traps. There's some Forgotten Realms novels. There's one of my DM notebooks. Army Painter set. We've got the Armies of Kobolds and Goblins, which I'm slowly painting over there. Bunch of third-party stuff there. Call of Cthulhu box set. Deathwatch from Games Workshop. I'd love to collect more of the Games Workshop stuff, but I just can't find anybody to play it. Where did I get the Mimic microphone? I made the Mimic microphone. I'm a sculptor. Oh yeah, I'd like to make a video about the Bagman for sure. The reason why I didn't is because Dungeon Dad made one quite recently, and I was just giving it time, you know. It's not like I don't make the same video topics that Dungeon Dad does, but I don't do them at the same time that he does, but so that his gets maximum exposure, basically. I think so, Mika. Yeah, 10 to 15, carrying 10 to 15 books around. That was commonplace. You don't do that these days. What's that? Mr. Rex gets some stuff odd, not wrong. He comes up with some really obscure lore stuff. I think he's doing a video on Venger and the D&D cartoon at the moment. I'm not sure if he's doing. He was talking about that. I talk to him every now and then. He's a great guy. You lost your original Palladium library. Oh, sorry to hear that. But they are cheap. You know, the softcover format has really paid off over time. Like my Heroes Unlimited books, I've been using those for 30 years, softcover books, and they're perfectly fine. Not so the 5th edition books, which didn't even last 5 years. You'd love to see a video on the city of Evereska. Thanks, boss. Yeah, I do actually have a printed out list of all the different regions of the Forgotten Realms which I'd like to do regional videos on. That's been my intention for years, and I wasn't too sure whether it would work or not. Because you don't want to start doing that and then stop halfway through. And if it doesn't have an audience, that would be a huge commitment to a project which, yeah, could hurt. But I'd love to do it. I think at the moment I'm I may be ready to do that as a book, you know, rather than a series of videos, or do the videos as a part of writing the book. But that's something that, you know, I don't know. It's a time commitment, because everything I do, I have to consider, okay, I've got to make videos to make money in the meantime while I'm doing that as well. And there's only so much output I can do, sort of thing. We're getting close to our hour limit on my my live stream. So if you've got any comments or if you've got any questions, throw them at me. Yeah, Palladium definitely fills a small library, but the covers are so pretty. And I love giant robots. I love giant robots. I love drawing giant robots. I love designing giant robots. That was one of the things I loved about Traveller, was designing new laser guns and stuff, like shotgun lasers and things like that. Fourth edition was the first set of books I ever passed on to a used bookstore. Yeah. The Great Elven Cities, yeah. Moonshay Isles, yeah. There's plenty of. Oh boy, that was kind of why I started making Palladium, this Forgotten Realms videos in the first place. Is I wanted to be one of those people that could just look at the map and know what I was looking at, and say, okay, you're in Waterdeep. If you travel that way for 2 days, you'll get to here. If you travel for those days, you'll get to there. One time, when I was living in my old place, there was these house sitters that would come in and look after the house when my parents were away on holiday. And Reg and Lois, English couple, and now living in New Zealand. And they walked into my bedroom / study / workroom, and they looked at the map of the Forgotten Realms on the wall, and they looked at the library of books on the Forgotten Realms, and they looked at my notes and all that sort of stuff, and everything that I was doing, and how much work I put into it. And they said, you don't think this place is real, do you? And I'm like, no. But I could understand their concern. The fact that you get so well versed on a fictional place. But I mean, people are like that with like look at Stephen Colbert and his knowledge of the Lord of the Rings, for instance. He prides himself on it justifiably, and it is a commitment to learn about the Forgotten Realms for sure. But once you do, it's something that you've always got. It's a place that you can just go to in your head. You know, it's great. I love it. Always have. Yeah, Ed Greenwood has really kicked up a notch with his YouTube channel, and his poems that he's posting on X at the moment are really entertaining. He's great. I really am looking forward to one day meeting Ed Greenwood, hopefully at a convention and having a chat. And Eric Boyd and George Crashos. If we can ever get together, that would be fantastic. I'd love to meet those guys. Podcasts easier to produce? Yes, I would say so. Just because you don't have to do all the image editing and stuff, generally speaking. And they're not scripted. All my videos are scripted, as you know. So I write them out, I type them out, print them out. There's a big stack of scripts up there. They're now it's so high that I have to fill the third tray of my inbox now. And it actually bends my tray. The weight of, there's approximately 2.5 reams of printer paper there, I would say, maybe 3. So if ever anybody wanted to produce a book of what I'd done, that's the pile of paper you'll have to sift through, or all the files on my computer. But I actually have printouts of all of the scripts that I do. Can you talk about handouts that aren't documents, things players can keep? Yeah, I suppose so. I don't really talk about a lot of like at the table DM advice these days. It's mostly just lore and stuff because, yeah, there's so many channels which talk about D&D tips. And also, I'm more old school than the current sort of audiences. What are you saying, William Darkstar? What's this about a garden centre of what? Yeah, that's the general idea, Stephen. Like an overview of the region and talking about specific towns and things like that. You don't have to go into the detail of what's the particular racial breakdown of every particular location and stuff, but like a broad idea of what Westgate is and what the vibe of Westgate is, for instance. Like you'll realize that Westgate is infamous for various reasons. It's like Ankh-Morpork, there's always a body in the river in the morning. It would be a good day when there's not a few corpses on the streets. It's a cutthroat, thieving, backstabbing city with narcotics and a dark history. Like it's a seedy port on the Dragon Coast. Hey Justin, you're just about to miss me. I'm just about to leave. I could print a book of my scripts, but it would be garbled. It would need a bit of work to put together, for sure. Otherwise, it would be like that awful Dragonlance book, which has got kitchen recipes and songs and poems and stuff. The history of Dragonlance. Don't buy it. People who made that should be slapped. It's the most wanky book I've ever seen. That's my least favorite old school D&D book. One of the reasons why I just don't respect Dragonlance. They expected people to buy that crap. The history of Dragonlance. And Discworld videos. I've got the GURPS Discworld book, which is really well put together. Yeah. And there are plenty of fans of Discworld, for sure. And I do love the Discworld. I have read all the Discworld books. So yeah, yeah, maybe a passing video. No, I haven't done Skullport or Raven's Bluff. Yeah, yeah. You should never be scared of character death. Character death is awesome in the game. It's one of the reasons why we love playing it. Elminster and the Sage need to meet in person. Yeah. How tall is he, Greenwood? I think we're about the same height, maybe. What do I think of Greyhawk? Greyhawk's a great setting. It's like I often wonder why 4th edition made Narath, and like they sort of made out like the points of light setting was a new thing. Greyhawk is a great combination of set city locations, like Greyhawk is a city, the city, you know, on the world of Earth, however you want to pronounce it, and the rest, there's large tracts of wilderness that is designed for your character to go in, fight, conquer, tame, build their own keep, and extend civilization and the obligations and benefits therein. So it's a game which is built. It's a setting which is built for campaigns. But you can run everything there. The Forgotten Realms differs in Greyhawk in that like every square inch has got lore and stuff that you can draw on and use. It's optional. You don't have to. And it's perfectly fine to like, you can get very in the weeds of specific places in the Forgotten Realms, and each of them have got very different vibes. In Greyhawk, that's sort of more spread out. And there's a lot of history in there, but it's not, it's not going to rise up and bite you in the ass. And also you've got like a lot more monstrous, untamed wilderness and stuff in Greyhawk. Yeah, but it's got a vibe to it, you know. And also, of course, it's got the earliest history of the first characters that were played in the game. So Greyhawk is the home of the origin of D&D, kind of. If I'm buying a history book, it would be the history of D&D. Yeah. No, not going the route of Too Thin Plants, unfortunately. But I've always got the option of doing that later on, maybe. If I ever get a viral video. In the Forgotten Realms, you've never read a novel, but my early players knew more about the world than I did. Yeah. Yeah, Forgotten Realms is more like a novel, and Greyhawk is purely sandbox. There you go. Yeah. How will I eat cheese? I'll just melt it. Put it on toast. Greyhawk was the best. Forgotten Realms is the biggest. Yeah, it's a matter of opinion. Yeah, Mystara is very well developed as well, but Mystara is much more, here's a part of the real world, let's translate it into a fantasy world sort of thing. But also, Mystara, of course, is an entirely different type of world to planet Earth. It's hollow on the inside. It has a different world on the inside of Mystara. So, fundamentally very different. Much like Discworld and Midgard are both Discworlds. So Midgard is not, as far as I know, floating on the back of a giant turtle supported on the backs of 4 giant elephants. But it is a floating, a disc world. It's a big flat disc of land traveling through space. So that's cool. Yeah. Anyway, time to go, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Great to all see you. I will be back on a more regular basis, I promise. More live streams. Back of a giant platypus. Yeah. Yeah, second edition had a hollow world setting. And of course, the rules cyclopedia is D&D Basic is Mystara, So yeah. I'm kind of bucking tradition by putting my D&D Basic game in Forgotten Realms, but, stick with what you know. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody, and a great rest of your day. If you're in New Zealand, the rest of your day is ahead of you, or the rest of your evening if you're elsewhere. Hey, Matt Nerdy. And as always, thanks for listening, and I'll be back with more for you very soon.